Relationships are pivotal to everything in life, and especially when it comes to business. I mean, the great thing about it is, these people that are on this program, these relationships go back 15, 20, 30 years plus. And they open up doors for us in terms of having access to a lot of things that most people don't have access to, and it should be that way in every community. But for some reason, in our community, this is not always the norm, and we're not the exception to the rule. This is the rule: is that having great relationships, networking, and the emphasis on integrity, meaning that you do what you say you're going to do. You be a man of your word. If you make mistakes, you make sure you take care of those mistakes when you're not intentionally trying to harm anybody. And we don't do a lot of that in today's world, especially on this, social media platform. A lot of people are pretending to be something that they're not, and they tell you they can do things that they can't, and they defraud people. So I think it's important to talk about these things and talk about how it levels the playing field in business. Because if I say, hey, Ron of Ron Rich, which I've been knowing, man, since 2007, I think. No, actually 2006.
Yes.
2006.
2006.
15 years. And I tell Ron that, Nick is good. Ron ain't got to worry about really checking Nick out because he's been knowing me for 15 years. And if I vouch for you, that should be good enough. But a lot of times it's not, because people are not truly who they say they are. And along, line of people have burned those bridges. But we don't do that. And I'll give you an identification of how that works. Man, dude, it so amazes me that right now we got these clowns out here that have been trying to clown Kwame Brown, let me pronounce his name right, Kwame Brown, and this so-and-so guru of the people, y'all know who I'm talking about. First got a destination of DR. And I'm saying to myself, man, if you're so relevant and you're doing all this great work in the community, why are you even talking about this dude? I mean, think about it. You're supposed to be this very successful PhD in economics, and everybody you get in touch with, the rappers, the ballers, the business people, and then all of a sudden this guy gets on the scene, which people are trying to vilify his character, and he stands up like a real man because he don't want his young children thinking that he's not a man of integrity, and he called all these clowns out. And then this gentleman with the PhD and the DR in front of his name in economics claims that he was on his side, and he reached out, and when the gentleman didn't want to be bothered with him because you ain't nobody special to him, he started going on other platforms like a little bitch. Pardon my French. This is an adult conversation. And start talking about the dude because he wouldn't take his call because, oh, I'm so-and-so, blah, 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 and I'm so important. You ain't important to me. He ain't important to him. And the dude was like, dude, I didn't take your call, and you were saying positive stuff about me, but now you're going on like a chatty patty and trying to say stuff about me when you don't even know me and don't know nobody that knows me. But because I didn't take your phone call, because you don't have a relationship with me, you don't have no credibility with me, you want to go out here and start saying negative stuff about me. And you're a grown man in your 50s. I think this dude is 50 years of age, and he out here trying to clown a dude that's 39 because the dude won't take his call because he ain't got no interest in talking to you. Because if he talks to him, he adds credibility to his site that he's monetizing, pimping people. So what do you think about that, OG? I mean, think about that. That doesn't even make any sense, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, the most important thing in life, excuse me, my 73 years in the world has been a journey that I can really say that the people that I've done business with, the people socially as well as business, there's respect there. I was talking to one of my fraternity brothers that which we call our sand brother, the person that I pledged with. And one thing that he mentioned, he said, Ron, one thing I've known about you for the last 53 years that we've been knowing each other is the fact that when you say things, you try your best to deliver. And when you do things, you don't bring people into it unless you know their investment, or anything that value that they're bringing to it, they're going to receive something in return that they can say it was a good deal or good relationship dealing with Ron. And I can say today, my most important thing in my life is my credibility. Because one thing that you want to be able to do, no matter where you go, you don't have to want, you aren't looking behind your back or worried about what people are saying, because, people are going to hate anyway. That's just human nature. They'll hate your success. They'll hate the lady that you're dating. They'll hate some of the possessions and stuff that you have, but that's okay. Because see, the thing is, when you feel comfortable with who you are, because if you're putting good things out there, because good things bring good things to life. And that's the way that I live. And what you're saying, Dale, I mean, you just can't worry about those haters, because haters are who they are. And they really hate themselves, because one thing I know, you got bad feelings in your body. It affects you more than that person that you're trying to hate on. And I can say that because
well said, OG.
Because I know, I'll just for one example. One time me and my son got into an argument, man. And this is my son, and we arguing about things. At the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna lie, I damn near had a heart attack behind it. Because here I am, man, feud with my son, and we going at it. But I mean, yes, we got that together because he's a little guy that think he has it going on. But see, time has told him at the age that he is right now, Daddy had a lot more going on at that particular age. So, it happens even with family, but, we live and forgive.
It's a funny thing that my man Kwame said. He said, here's the reality for this guy. He said he was that guy, couldn't get the girl in his prime, when he was in high school, when he was in college. And now he done created this false environment, and a lot of sheep are following him. I mean, a lot of sheep. And here's the thing. I met the clown personally. And here's what we know as real ballers. And I don't mean somebody who's making millions of dollars and all. I mean a real man that attracts real women. That's what we are. This guy never was. And now that he got this platform of people following him, that he thinks that he's a baller, and the ones that really don't know and have discernment, he now is trying to get that credibility and that validation, because he was not that baller in high school and college. He was a nerd. Ain't nothing wrong with a nerd. And now all of a sudden, younger people that are in Nick's age group, they look up to him because he got this, destination in front of his name, and he got this thing behind his name, and now he cool. But he still is a nobody in terms of coolness. And I don't care about coolness. But when you got it, you got it.
Well, you do.
You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, I mean, yeah.
Right. It is what it is. You got it. I got it. Nick got it. Everybody on this platform got it. But he don't got it. He got it false. And then when you try to connect with a real baller, and just because that ball ain't interested, you think, oh, dude, I'm the man. No, you're not the man, bro. You're not the man.
Well, and see, when people start,
right.
Yeah, when people start saying they're the man to who? Because no matter who you are, I mean, you can be an athlete, you can be an entertainer. Everybody don't love you because who you are. I mean, you're gonna have your fans, no doubt about that. But the best thing that you have going in your life is the fact that you give everybody the same propers and respect that you want in return.
Right.
And I mean, and see, when you start feeling that you got to go out and flaunt what you do and who you are, well, if you really all that, it speaks for itself. And that's one thing about, we look at a person like, one thing I respect a person like LeBron. I mean, LeBron has been somebody that the world probably knows today, but what he does for the general public, for those who are less fortunate, he gives them the utmost respect because he let his, not just the fame, but his money talk about what he's all about in the community. And that's what it comes down to. You're only valuable when you're valuable to other people. See, people keep on thinking that, well, I'm rich, so I'm valuable to myself and everybody else. No, the only value that you have is when you have some value for other people in your life, because that's when you're going to really get the real respect by what you did for somebody other than yourself. And that's why that philosophy in the Bible says it's better to give than receive. Because if you're giving What goes around comes around. It'll come right back to you. And those are things that I've learned. And that's what I'm saying, man. As you get older, like I said, no little G and 73, man. When I see friends from the past, people approach me with a smile.
Right.
And you're talking about something that makes you feel good inside. When people are, and they'll come, hey, Ron, man, my man, you haven't changed. And then when I start talking my little bull, they be saying, oh, man, you haven't changed. Oh, you're still down to earth. You're still real. I mean, and some of them have seen some of the things that I've been successful with. And I never try to flaunt that because I felt that I'm not going to make nobody feel bad that maybe they may not be doing as well as I am at that particular time. And that's what we want to do. We want to make people feel good because if we can motivate them, people that they look up to and feel that you have it going on, you want to motivate them to let them know that, hey, I'm nothing exceptional. Maybe I've worked hard for what I'm doing. And you can do the same thing too if you just focus on what you really want to do. And we almost have to find that passion that we want in business, as well as the family life that we live. And once you find that passion and you do what is necessary, because I'm learning all the time, because I try to read a lot to pick up on the profession that I'm in, because marketing is really my passion. It changes every day, all the time. And it requires me to constantly read and see what's going on so I can stay up with what I got to do. And I feed that to everybody else because they say, well, Ron, man, how do you do certain things? I said, well, I do certain things because I put the time and effort to stay on top of my game. Because if you don't stay on top of your game, you will fall behind, especially if you call yourself a person that's in the marketing business like I am.
So think about the integrity and piggyback on what you said, Ron. Like I said, 15 years, I ain't met nobody that know you that don't speak highly of you. Now, that's because not only are you likable, but you have integrity. And getting back to this guy is that he's an elitist who only want to be around this 1 or 10% of the best, but you are nobody special to nobody. God's no respecter of person. And for you to want to contact this person, it's only for clout chasing, because you want to add more likes, more subscribers to your platform so you can get paid more money. You're really not generally trying to get to know this person. Because if that person was, what is the class we used to take? Current events. If he wasn't in the current events,
yeah.
Look how this matriculated throughout our community. Here's a guy that's been retired. I think he's been retired for like 7 years. And now every clown on the soapbox is talking about this dude. Why should you be talking about a retired ball player from 7 years ago? And we supposed to be getting sports journalism for what's happening right now. Playoff NBA basketball should be all you be talking about. And unless that person is playing, owning, or coaching, that should not be a topic that you should be talking about on ESPN, Fox, whatever. But these clowns, the Negroes, the special Negroes, the chosen, they're talking about this person because the establishment wants them to continue to have bickering amongst our people. And it's like everybody getting into it. I'm like, dude, wake the fuck up. I'm not even entertaining a conversation with you, is what my man Kwame said. Dude, why am I going to give you more fodder so you can get advertising dollars to be negative about our people? Instead of uplifting us, encouraging us, embracing us, these clowns out there, oh man, we got to talk about this guy. We got to talk about that guy. No, what about what the guy talking about the good things done in the community? And you sitting up here talking about what he can't do. And this dude ain't dribbled a basketball professionally in 7 years, but you want to make him the #1 topic for your program. But you're supposed to be.
Well, he wasn't really. He really wasn't a great ball player during this time that he was playing.
But that's not the point, though. But check it out, though. Why you talking about him 7 years later, though? That's my point.
Yeah.
Because your handlers is telling you, we need to have this conversation. Conversation about what? That's what I'm cracking up. And then, if everybody's talking about it, everybody's watching. So, man, let me advertise some stuff on here because this is the hot topic and it's the fad of the day. And I'm like him, dude. Don't call me when you ain't had no interest in what I was doing prior to this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, this is just crazy. And that's some, I hate to say it, ladies, don't get this twisted, but that's some chick shit. Gossip. That's what that is.
You have a lot of men out here that's real bitches.
Yeah, they betas.
And
they got relationship problems. And they
the thing,
the wrong way. And they definitely lack integrity, because guess what? I'm not gonna be rolling with you. You say something negative about me, I got no relationship with you, and you mad because I won't take your phone call? Man, get up out of here. That's some punk stuff. But on the positive side, the purpose of this conversation is to talk about how the impact in business that we don't have, and the things that have actually come 180 in just knowing people from 12, 13, 15 years ago. So, when people raise capital, because you've been down this road many a times, Ron, and people raising millions of dollars. What's the first thing people ask you for as investors? I need a deck. And if people know what a deck is, that's a presentation that outlines what you need the money for, how you're going to use it, how you're going to give me my return back. And it's usually a professional, presentation that's 10 pages, 5 pages, sometimes 20 pages.
Business plan that we used to call them business plan. I know you guys got another spin on it today.
Right. But,
because.
Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
No, I was going to say, because, quite naturally, a business plan is really a perspective on what you have in mind. I mean, sometimes you can follow through with it. Sometimes you change it along the way. Because I know with my business experience, we put business plans together. And because of the nature of trying to get the financing together, I mean, sometimes you got to scale down and maybe do something that's a little bit less than what you had anticipated from Jump Street. Because, a plan is only good as those who are reading your plan and what they really think about it. And sometimes we wrote business plans and we had other people look at them and we thought it was great. But when you got to that person that was putting the money up, they started asking questions and started saying, well, how are you going to do that? Because, I mean, you remember my partner, John Crockett.
Right.
I mean, John was pretty good at writing plans. And, he's an engineer. But I would tell John, sometimes the numbers was a little too wild. And, people look at it and say, well, how are you going to do that? And things of that nature, because, that's why you always have the weakness and the positive things in your plan, or where's your weak points and things of that nature. And sometimes people will express that, but then other people start calling that out. Well, it might not be in their favor for them to really believe what you believe in. So, the thing that I've always done, deal with a lot of business that I started, I put up the seed money to make things more viable. So when you came in, at least you saw that I had a pretty nice investment into it, because a lot of people say, well, what do you got into the game? And so if you got something that's going along, I mean, this is what I'm doing today with CBD. Quite naturally, I invested the money into the product. Thank God we're moving product today. I got a couple clients today, patients that came on board, and the people that I have on board right now, they like what we're doing. That's why we have a repeat sales. And I had a business plan with that, but quite naturally, I've had to alter that because of the fact that sometimes you assume what you have is all good, but other people, and it takes time to build things, because, I'm in a very competitive business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With that said, we're gonna have a word from our sponsors. Ron B is hopping on real shortly here, and we want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, children, you're watching Bet on Black, the men, the family, the legacy, where you get real talk from real men, real success. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey! Hey, stand right there. Hey, you guys stand right there. Merry Christmas! We lit the tree and it's on, baby. Pom Lifestyle, DJ the Money Coach. Come join us on the beaches of the World Club. Tonight's beach is Christmas celebration. Love you. Hit that link. Get free.
All right. Welcome back to Bet on Black. The men, the family, the legacy. We're talking about relationships, networking with integrity, which we are void of in our society today. And that's one of the main problems, that we have a race to the bottom in our, environment, nowadays. So we want to talk about why that you should be a person that have solid relationships. And there's 3 rules of how you treat people. I call them the silver rule, the golden rule, and the platinum rule. The silver rule reality is that do the less for people, to people, to stay out of trouble legally. That's the silver rule. And that's what most people do. They do the least they have to stay out of trouble with you, to stay out of trouble with the law. That's the silver rule. The rule that most people apply, which they think is the ultimate rule, is the golden rule. Do unto others the way you want to be done unto. But I coined the platinum rule. The platinum rule is do unto people the way they want to be treated. Because here's the deal. Nick's right now, he's sipping on something. He could be sipping on Tolero. He could be sipping on some wine. And let's say, for instance, Ron, I was going to get you your favorite drink and I was going to pay for it. And my favorite drink is Tolero, but you may not have had Tolero yet, but you like, the Winking Owl, which I had at Studio 21, which is great. But I'll bring you a bottle of Tolero because I'm spending the money, and you're going to be like, hey, man, that's cool. I'm digging it, but that's not what I asked you to get me, DJ. I asked you for the Winking Owl. Since you're going to pay for it, I should have got the Winking Owl. That's the platinum rule, and a lot of people miss that. So again, the platinum rule is do unto people the way they want to be done unto, and exceed the golden rule, because I don't like pork. So if you offer me a pork sandwich, even though it tastes good to you and everybody else, and you pay for it, you basically insulted me. So that ain't even the golden rule. So in relationships, you should practice the platinum rule. Do unto people the way they want to be treated. How does that work in communications? How does this work, ladies? And this is especially for the millennials and the younger people. If I want to be communicated with on the phone or face-to-face, and you like communicating through text and Discord and Twitter, and you think that's the best way to communicate with me, but you're trying to befriend me, maybe you should communicate with me on the phone or in person, not your way.
Well, that's very true, because I'm one who loves to talk on the phone because of the fact that I can pick up your voice and I can figure out whether your conversation is really sincere or not. And one thing I look at, a lot of people use text to hide behind the conversation, because they'll text you and say anything, but when you get them on the phone, it becomes very personal. And then they can almost get the truth off. I mean, people will lie if you talk to them too. I'm not saying that that's really a safe way to do it, or people won't lie, but usually I can tell through the conversation whether or not you are sincere about what we're trying to do. And like we said about credibility, to go back to what I was saying earlier, when other people say good things about you, that helps you so much, because of the fact that that's what I'm saying. When you don't have to really brag about what you do and where you've been, things of that other, because if people really like you, they'll do more promoting for you than you ever realized. Because back in the day, we used to hang out at the clubs. Sometimes I was approached by women that said, "Oh, hey, Ron," and I would say, "Well, who are you?" "Well, you might not know me, but I know about you." And it's interesting because I said, "Well, what do you know about me? Was it negative?" I said, "No, it was pretty good. That's why I'm talking to you." Because like I said, people will send people your way if they feel that they can respect you. And like I said earlier, if you said something, when you introduced me to Nick, there was no doubt in my mind, because I knew if Nick was hanging with you, he had to be very good people, which it turned out to be that he is a great man. And that's very good when you have that credibility among your friends that they will pass on to people that you're introduced to.
Yeah, I mean, that's important. Nick, man, chime on in here, young grasshopper. Yeah. You haven't said a word other than the introduction, and this is the 4-generation conversation. That's another benefit of this, is that we go from the 70s to the 60s to the 50s to the 40s to the 30s. Chime on in here and tell us why relationships, networking, and integrity is important for somebody at 30 years of age, brother. Bring it to us in your level. Bring us the good, bring us the bad, bring us the indifferent, and let us hear from your perspective.
Oh yeah, well, of course, you know, I'm the technician too, so I'm over here working behind the scenes while y'all chopping it up. But yeah, I mean, at 30, you know, I see now as the time that I'm planting the seeds, you know. So when it comes to relationships and integrity, I want to make sure my integrity is intact, because, you know, I'm still building. You know, the older generations, a lot of them are still working. Even you know, you guys who are free, you guys are still working. You're still putting in that work. But if you wanted to, you know, you could hang it up and say, you know, I'm done. You know, I'm just going to chill for for the rest of my life. You know, but as a person who's working towards freedom, and like I said, planting those seeds, that integrity is even more important, because I'm in the process of creating a legacy, and also in the process of making a name for myself. And DJ, you always talk about that name on the back of the shirt, you know, and you know, these are the formative years right now that I'm in, as far as building that reputation on a name that's on the back of my shirt, you know, right now. So at 30 years of age, integrity is important in that sense.
And you know what? You know what leads to integrity is what Ron said: respect. What does that mean? That means you address people in a respectful manner. Yes, sir. No, sir. If you're a DR, MBA, and person says, hey man, address me as, you know, Mr. Westbrooks, as a teacher. Don't get friendly with me and start calling me Nick if we're not on informal, you know, level together, especially in a professional environment. And that's one thing that I teach my 4 children. I say, regardless of who you're talking to, if it's a coach, if it's a teacher, it's yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And people are like, oh man, that's old school. No, that's respect, because guess what? They're gonna treat you with the same respect. Another thing that you do is time-wise. Don't disrespect people's time. If you can't make it on time, how about call, text, email? Because when the shoe is on the other foot, and this is something that my father and my grandfather taught me. He said, hey, be careful of the people you climbing over going up that ladder, because eventually you'll be going right back down that ladder, and them people will be at the top of that ladder.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't get that, because, you know, they're young, they bold, they got some success, everybody need me. You know, here's the reality. It's 7 billion people on this planet. You're only special to you, your mama, your daddy, maybe if you got some children, maybe if you have a spouse. But after that, you really ain't special to nobody, because after you are no value or usable to somebody, you are a has-been. But if you treat people with respect, address them accordingly, you know, treat them the way you want to be treated with dignity, you're going to always have a good foundational relationship with. You ain't got to like each other, but that respect supersedes that like ability in a lot of regards. And a lot of people don't get that, especially when it comes to time. And I get this, you know, Ron say, hey man, call me, Dale, don't text me. And I say, hey, Ron, you're right. Only time I text you if I got to text you, because I can't call you and get you on the phone. Like if I got to send you a picture or something like that, that I know you can get immediately to go to your email, I'm going to text you. But 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to call Ron, because that's his form of communication. For me, even in this world of, you know, pandemic and technology, like on this platform, I like to see people. I like to be able to read their eyes. Is to me, ain't nothing better than seeing them face to face and then hit them on the phone. So let me give you a parameter, a guidelines of how you should approach things from a communication standpoint. And maybe you'll appreciate this as you get older. Number one thing is, if I'm trying to communicate with somebody, I first want to talk to them face to face. If I can't get them face to face, I want to give them a call to say, hey, Nick, can we meet at X amount of time in person, or can I meet you on Zoom, Skype, StreamYard? If I can't get them with the text, I then want to email them to say, hey, call me, text me, because I want to talk to you. And then if I can't do that, I go down, down, and down, and down. But it's the opposite in today's world, because everybody want to shoot out a quick message. And it doesn't work unless it's the emergency communication that you got to have, or you're in a situation or environment that you can't pick up the phone and call people.
Right.
That's lost on a lot of people. You know that I've instilled and I beat that into my children's head every day. And you know what? My children get it. And then people say, wow, your children respectful. They treat me with kindness. They have a sincere compliment about me. And they ain't perfect, but they do that so better than other people that it opens up other doors that other people don't get open. And let me pull it this way, 180 degrees when it comes to this environment we in, that these people are being, targeted, lynched and stuff like that. You know what? Whose number one concern is it from a relationship standpoint to make sure that you get home safe? It's yours. What do I mean by this? Any wrongdoing against any human is wrong, period. However, if I know you know the law and I expect you to uphold it by me being combative with you, because I want to prove how smart and how much bravado I got, but you got a gun strapped to your side, or you got a bat. But if I just kill you with some kindness, who's smarter and who's wiser and who's most likely to be back at home safely? And then they can, state their case and go on attack. But if I come up against you and Ron, Nick, and you strapped, and I know you are violating my rules and my respect and my principles, and I try to charge you up, and I already assessed the situation, sometimes I got to take what you think is an L so I can keep my life and get the W. What do we do it now? All these matters and these movements, oh man, my rights is this, 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 and this. And unfortunately, those people get killed, and people say, oh man, they should never been. Well, maybe you should have used a little bit of common sense and said, I'm in a danger zone. I'm already at a disadvantage, so I'm going to take this L so I can get home.
And Dale, let me tune in on that. Like I said, been around for 73 years. I've had some encounters with the police, not that often, because thank God, I've never been locked up. I don't have a record or anything of that nature, but every time that I was approached by the police, because like you said, he's got the gun and the law's on his side in most cases. And, I respect the officer. What are you pulling me over for? What's the problem? Well, you were speeding. I said, well, officer, I wasn't really intending to speed. I mean, sometimes I said, my mind was on some problem I'm having, and maybe I might have been going over the speed limit. And, that was not my intent. And so, I mean, really, like I said, I think I got stopped in the South. I got stopped out West. And because of the way that I treated the police officer, I never had any problems. I'm not saying that you some people might give them total respect because you got some assholes out here that don't care. But one thing that you said, my parents always told me, anytime you come in encounter with the police, give them the respect, because they got the power over you, because that's one thing that they have. They got a gun and they have the power over you because they're the police. And I'm not saying that, like I said, that every police, no matter what you do, may not retaliate against you. I mean, he might, want to beat you up or whatever. But using that respect with them will sometimes stop a lot of things from happening.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Because even if you don't respect them, you got to respect the power that they hold in that side firearm.
Yes, they do. Yes.
I mean, think about it. I mean, think about this novel concept. If they pulled you over, they ran your license plate, and if you are the owner of the car, or they ask you for your driver's license and you try to flee, where you gonna run to? They already know where to get you.
Right.
A novel concept. I remember when I moved to the South and I got pulled over with me and my family like 2 o'clock in the morning by a black cop and a white cop, and automatically they tried to play the game on, oh, we need to check your car. Now, that's a violation of my rights. But you know what? I knew I had nothing in my car. I could have, oh no, man, you ain't checking it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the middle of, I don't know where we at, small town. And I'm gonna buck up because I know my rights, and I'm gonna be in a body bag potentially. But you know what I did?
Yeah.
Officer, no problem. You need to check my car? Go right ahead. As soon as I did that, I text my attorney. I'm at so-and-so. If something happens, you know, they check my car. They can't find that. They try to come around, play it. Then they let me go. Did I like what they did? No. But given the situation, I knew there was no win for me in this scenario other than shutting my trap, taking that L, and get on the road safety for my family. I think if our people would start applying some of that common sense right off the bat, if you were to get jumped, not just with the cops, I'm talking about with anybody at this stage, what is the risk that you have that you're going to come out and you can brag about? Because that's really what it's about at the end of the day, is that, oh man, I didn't get punked. They didn't treat me less than what I deserve. Hey man, the win is you are alive, you're healthy, and you're on safe ground. That's a relationship.
Well, you got to use, and that's just being smart, because a smart man figure a way to get out of a situation without making it violent or anything of that nature. Because see, that's how you continue to live and not have those problems as you get older. Because see, sometimes people have that desire to always want to hate on the police. I mean, the police sometimes there for our for the good of us. And I mean, you have bad police and you have good police, because I have quite a few friends over the years that was, law enforcers, and I respected them because of the fact that I knew the job they had was to help me and other citizens in this world. But then, like I said, you have some police officers who are bad apples, and you have bad apples in every race, every profession, and things of that nature. That's just people. But like I said, Dale, every time they pulled me over, anytime I got stopped, I always gave them the upper hand, because of the fact that I knew that they had that gun and the law is always on their side.
Right.
And like you said, I mean, why not use
12 and 2?
Yeah.
Put your arms up. If they pull you over, if you got something in the glove box, hey man, get that immediately, get that. But again, forget about the police situation, but just think about when you meet somebody. If you meet somebody for the first time, what's the best thing to reciprocate? Put a smile on your face.
Yes.
That person will smile back. You want somebody to shake your hand? Here's a novel concept. You reach out and shake their hand, and then they almost 9 out of 10 times reciprocate that. If you want to get their number, guess what? Give them your number, and it's natural for them to reciprocate the same type of action garnered towards them. These things are common sense, but they're not common knowledge, because we don't teach this where? In the household first. Another thing, if you want to increase better relationships with integrity, sincere compliment. Hey, you know what, Ron? Man, that's a nice hat you got on there, brother. It looks custom made. Where'd you get it from?
I got this hat from you back in 07. We were down in Houston at that little concert that we had on the show. Was when P. Diddy was getting off the ground and becoming a big fella, So.
You see what I'm saying? So Nick, guess what? So this is a thing called, it's an acronym called FORM. Stands for family, occupation, recreation, money, or message. If you want to be quick friends with people, these are relationship tips with networking and integrity, how to build for a business. So from there, the next thing I would go, Nick, and say, hey, Ron, man, so you did something with P. Diddy. What led you to that event? Was it just you were having a good time? Did you have some money invested? Tell me a little bit of something about that, Mr. Harris.
Well, quite naturally, we was down there. I mean, I took my Buddy Made product down, and quite naturally, we were there to not only have fun, but to also take care of some business too, which I think everybody did pretty well there. Went to a couple of great parties down there, had a great time partying with people down in there. And then at that time, you had just moved down to Houston too, which I enjoyed spending the time with you and your family. So that whole trip was an experience that I'll never forget. And quite naturally, it affected me to the point that I can remember a lot of things that we did that particular time I was there, that week I spent in Houston.
You see that now, next time I see Mr. Harris, hey, Ron, tell me about that Buddy Mate, man. Tell me about that endeavor you doing out there in Kingman, Nevada, because I took mental notes. I talked a little bit about the family, occupation, Buddy Mate, relation, and then the money and the message. And now when I turn back and immediately see them 3 weeks later, 2 months later, and I immediately bring that up, that's automatically going to say, wow, this person really shows care and they are concerned about my personal well-being. So guess what that does? That ingratiates that person towards you every time. And if you consistently do that, that person will now start wanting to open up doors for you that you didn't think should be open for you. That's relationship building. And that's also networking to make opportunities for you years later, where Ron's helped me out in real estate, helped me out in business, introduced and brought the great, Gary Swan on the show. Just from that little interaction, and I made it my, purpose to remember that information, where I even jot the stuff down. I even put it in a text and say, hey, I met Nick Westbrooks at Urban X. He actually wrote this amazing testimonial letter that was like a page and a half, details about our program. Wow, I like this guy. Boom, boom, boom. Excellent writer. Talked about this, talked about that. Now I put out, say, hey man, thank you very much. Let me send you something. Built the bridge with Mr. Westbrooks, just like that. Then start matriculating that relationship and say, hey man, we got an opportunity to get you, debt free with these vehicles. Matter of fact, you did such a job writing. Could you write for us and maybe potentially do some business managing for us? So uplift, form, family, occupation, recreation, money, a message. And this is how you build relationships with integrity. And they continue to build forward by treating people with the platinum rule. You see what I'm saying? The platinum rule. And then you just continue to be a man of your word or woman of your word.
Yes.
These simple things that we just pass away, younger age to old. And I'll tell you even one thing where my aunt used to get on my nerves when I was like between 8 to 12. She would always correct me when I would speak broken English. And she said, hey, you never know who you're talking to, that they may not know how intelligent you are because you're being lazy. And that used to irritate the heck out of me. But then as I got older, people, oh man, you speak with so great clarity, great diction. And it's yes versus yeah. And again, I teach that to my children. They get upset. But you know what happens? They get out in public. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. How you doing today? And all of a sudden they getting all this favor. And then, like Ron said, Nick, you got people hating because they haven't practiced them same little principles that developed habits that by default, they created success in relationship, networking with integrity. Man, dude, I am so excited about that. Nick, what do you teach your children, school students, in that regard for relationship, networking, and integrity? Because they got to approach you. I'm sure they don't call you Nick. I'm sure they call you Mr. Westbrooks, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, we're teaching them that the classroom is training them for the world. So you need to behave as if you were outside. They think, oh, it's school. I'm with my classmates. I'm with my friends. It's different. But no, you need to operate like you're working, a business here, and you need to treat each other and your teachers like they are, your business partners. So you need to, this is hands-on, real world experience. So you can't ever say I didn't teach you anything, or you can't say that I didn't prepare you for the world, because I'm giving you these gems and showing you what you need to do in order to be successful and be ready. So come in with that mindset that this is the real world. It may not feel like it, but you want to move and behave as it is.
Think about that kid that always is respectful and treats you right, and they one time late on their assignment. Don't you generally have an affinity to tell, hey, you know what, you can hand that in, at this date, because they always trying to do the right thing and be respectful, versus that person that's smarter than everybody, got a bad attitude. You know what, guys? I'm talking about myself. I was that guy, knew everything, pissed people off. Hey man, it's all about what I know and how smarter than everybody else. And then I see the person that know less, but they always got a smile on their face. They always getting, hey, you can hand the assignment in. You can get a little bit extra time to finish that test. It's amazing how a little bit of honey goes a long way.
Yes,
and
it does.
It took me a long time to figure that out. And my grandmother used to tell me, she said, hey, you don't believe, that fat meat is greasy. And I was like, what, fat meat? Because you're so hard-headed, you're going to get dropped in that frying pan and you're going to find out how greasy you are.
No doubt. Hey, that's a good philosophy from your grandmother, We tend to learn a lot from people that's older because they went through a lot of things, especially people like your grandmother, man, because we got to look at it back in the 50s. Let's not even go back to the 20s and the 30s, man, what has happened to African Americans, man, they experience. I mean, from just like lately, everybody's been talking about what's been on in Tulsa, man, on Black Wall Street. That's been really publicized in the last year because of the fact that Black people was deprived of a lot of things that they did in the 20s and the 30s, man, that would probably made us very wealthy today. We probably would have at least 30 or 40 billionaires if we had been treated fair with the things that we put together. That jealousy from white Americans, man, just came in and just burned us out or either, killed a lot of people. And so those things are coming out in our history, which is very good because I'm gonna tell you, I was ignorant to a lot of things that I'm learning today that has happened to African Americans, and they didn't teach it at that time. I really didn't start getting any really significant Black history until I got into college.
Me too. Real Black history and real positive Black history. Here's one thing, and after I finished this quick statement, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back after this. But think about this. Here's another novel concept. What if we talk more about our victories and the things we overcame from a Black perspective than always every year we got to give this drudgery about slavery, lynchings. How about we talked about Reginald F. Lewis? How about we talk about John Johnson? How about we talk about Robert Smith? How about we talk about, Emmett Walsh, who actually created the .com in order for us to actually be on these platforms? How about we infuse positive accomplishments for our young boys and girls that look like us so they can have something to aspire to all the time? Yes, we should acknowledge those setbacks, but that shouldn't be the focal point of everything we do. It should just be a footnote. But what we should be doing is talking about, how about how we got, books, we got all these professors, we got all these, amazing creators of technology, just like yourself. How about we talk about Ron Rich, who created the Buddy Mate, so that we can feel empowered that we can do anything we want to do? Because notice this, in the PWI world, what do they always, highlight? Their triumphs. Have you ever noticed that? Do you ever see the Irish talking about when they were treated worse than we were when they came to this country? No. Do you ever see the Italians talking about constantly what they, were negatively, thought about when they came to this country? They even so much so created a lie that Columbus created, found and created America. And we know that's a lie. But the fact that they even have the audacity to do that, what do you think that these young Italian kids think about? Even just think about, the Hispanics, the Latinos. Even look at, the LGBTQ people. They talking about their accomplishments more than they talk about anything else. But what do? We focus always on the negative. That's a bad relationship. We should be talking about the positive things because what happened in the past has, and we should be aware of it, but we should be also more important talking about the success and the platitudes and the ascension that we have to the stars so that we can always bring out our best and never settle for anything second class. I mean, if that don't make sense.
I totally agree with that, Dale, because like you said, I mean, we have so many successful African Americans doing things that, just like Robert Smith. I mean, I became familiar with Robert Smith a couple of years ago. And it's just amazing the fact that through the growth that he's had over the years, why wasn't he recognized long before he became a billionaire? I mean, let's go back to Reginald Lewis. I mean, the first Black billionaire that we had in this country. I mean, I read about him early in the game, back when he had things going on when he bought McCall Pattern. company, which was long before he went and got involved with Beatrice and took it to another
Right,
level.
right.
And like I said,
He
that,
invested $1
and,
million
you know,
and
and I
got a
think,
90%, a 90-to-1 return at the McCall Pattern Company.
yeah. So, and like I said, those are the things that kids need to hear. They need to hear the success story. I mean, it's nice to, like to say, acknowledge our past and let them know where we came from. But I totally agree. We should not spend all the time talking about negative things that has gone on in the Black race. Because one thing about it, man, it is the past. I mean, I think people should know what their history, but we should definitely focus more time on the future and the success that individuals have had as African Americans. Because, you know, during my travel, when I was involved with the Minority Council, I met a lot of African Americans, men and women, with some very successful businesses that I don't even hear about them anymore. And I'm pretty sure they're still out there because they were very smart people, and the businesses that they were having was making millions of dollars. This is back in the early 80s and throughout the 90s.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Bet on Black, the men, the family, the legacy. And you should subscribe, you should like, you should share, because this is real people, real success, 4 generations. You know, our other guys are supposed to be popping on here. But ask yourself this question, ladies and gentlemen, guys, again, where do you see positive role models from 4 different generations communicating like everyday friends and family versus not communicating with each other? Where you see it? Right here on this show, Bet on Black, the men, the family, and the legacy. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsor.
Everybody, this is DJ the Money Coach. You just saw me give you 5 secrets to accumulating wealth in the wintertime. Secret number 1, only acquire real estate in the off season. I only acquire real estate from October to January for the past 20 years, and that has helped me create a strong 6-figure income and a 7-figure net worth. And I can teach you how to do the same thing. I'm going to help you and guarantee you how to acquire a property in the next 30 days exclusively for the first 10 people only here on the Classy Climb. I'm going to get you a $15,000 property with a 12% rate of return in the next 30 days if you're wise enough to invest in yourself. Because if you want to achieve the pom-pom lifestyle, which is plenty of money and peace of mind, then you have to learn the secrets of the wealthy. And the first rule is make your money on the acquisition, not on the sale. I'm DJ the Money Coach. Come join us on the Beaches of the World Club for the first 10 people only, exclusively. I'll see you in the webinar.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Bet on Black, the men, the family, the legacy. And this is our last segment of this amazing show, talking about relationships, networking with integrity. So, you know, it's never ceased to amaze me. These are things that we need to practice time and time again, because you are either a slave to bad habits or you're a slave to good habits. And good habits come with putting those reps in and treating people with the platinum rule that comes with putting those reps in. And one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about this is that how does that impact business? Well, this is how it impacts business. So Tolero is our sponsor, and from having a good relationship with the guys at Tolero, they became our sponsor. And on top of that, we were able to actually connect them through our relationship of 13 years with our good friend, Mr. Hutchinson, that runs a $1.5 billion, fund, and get them in contact with some real-time investors. And here's what was so important about that 13-year relationship, Nick and Ron. When I met Mr. Hutchinson, he was 19, about to turn 20, and I treat him with the utmost respect, just like he was a real business person. And I didn't know that one day he would become a juggernaut financier, but I treated him the way he wanted to be treated. And from there, a relationship built. And now today, he's closing millions of deals for millions of dollars and helping out a ton of people. And now, because of that relationship was built in with integrity, it's now impacting our sponsors in a major, great way. And from that, you never know who you're going to come in contact with, who you're going to pass going up and on the way down. And you never know when somebody's going to need to give you a hand up when you have a setback, because everybody has setbacks in business. So I'm excited about teaching people by being an example myself, not perfect, but working hard to get better at relationship building and not being an a-hole, but being an angel. So what do you guys have to say to that in this wrap-up segment of Bet on Black, the men, the family, the legacy?
Well, just like you said, Dale, I mean, you respected the young man that you're speaking about right now, and he went on to be very successful. My very first business, which was a record store back in the 75, and over the period of time, we was in business with, I had a partner, one of my frat brothers, and we stayed in business with that store for about 6 years. But quite naturally, after we left that particular business, over the years, I've met people that used to work for us, and some of them have gone on to be very successful. One lady, young lady that worked for us, she's now the vice president of MGM Casino here in the Detroit area. And like I said, I mean, it's so important that you respect everybody, no matter if they're working for you or if they just coming into your business and spending money with you, because you never know what they might be able to bring to the table in the future. And Jackie has helped me, introduced me to some people when I was involved in the corrugated business that helped me get involved with the casino. And I did pretty good with that business because of the relationship that she had.
Oh, man, that's awesome. And I got another one. I remember when I started my cleaning business back in, I think it was 96, 97. It was a guy named Ed White. And I was in the Amway business at the same time as I had my regular professional job, and met Ed White through the Amway business. He was a military officer, and he actually worked for this small company called Ashland Chemical. He was a mid-level manager over the region. I didn't know this, but because doing the Amway business, we always addressed each other in a respectful way, firm handshake, asked each other how the family, everything is doing. And then one day I decided I was going to get in the cleaning business, and I was just happening to telling people I was looking for contracts. And unbeknownst to me, Ed White said, "Hey, man, I'm a manager. I oversee this area of Chicagoland, and I actually oversee the cleaning contracts." He said, "You know what? I've been watching you through the Amway business and how you carried yourself and how you help people and how you're ambitious and you drive and focus. I'm going to give you an opportunity to get the cleaning deal for our company, even though you're not qualified. Because here's one thing I know about you, Dale. I know you're going to work hard. I know you're going to put the right people on your team, and you're going to get better every day based on seeing what you did for the last 2 years." And from that relationship, that led into me getting a contract with Ashland Chemical that eventually, 4 years later, became a 7-figure contract for me. If that ain't the power in relationship, I don't know what are. And the reality is most of my biggest business deals have come from relationships that I befriended people and treated them with the platinum rule, that outside of my expertise and my skill sets, it was really more the relationship, the access, and the mentorship than it was the quality of my services.
Well, that's why they said it's who know you more so than who you know, because the right people know you. Like you said, Dale, if they like you, they'll definitely help you as you grow in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely.